And gosh, just right place, right time. Thank you so much. Greg is a former airline pilot, and on the side, he was doing magic tricks. And the magic tricks turned into pretty big business. And then magic tricks turned into public speaking engagements, which Greg does for big groups and conventions. And now he's doing the Rotary Cornelius, just expanding his network. He has retired from the airline bit and is just doing the speaking bit. So thank you so much for coming today, Greg.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Meeting's not over. It's it. So let's try that again. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Better. I've got a confession to make. I like magic. Magic, when done properly, can be a lot of fun. And this group looks like it likes to have a lot of fun. Most of you, maybe not all of you, but most of you. And so, let's see here. You look like you like to have fun. Is that true? Do you like to have fun?
How did you pick me?
You like to have fun? What's your name?
Marilyn.
Marilyn. Everybody give Marilyn a round of applause. Marilyn, I'm Greg. Nice to meet you. That's a very firm handshake. It's very good. Marilyn, do you like card magic?
I think so.
You think so? That's too bad, Marilyn, because we're going to be doing a little bit of rope magic today.
Oh, I like ropes.
This is going to be more fun than I thought. Marilyn, what I would like you to do is inspect the rope, make sure there's no mirrors, trapdoors, hidden compartments, and you do need to believe it is a rope. It should be very familiar, just like the stuff you have in your secret closet.
Yes.
Not a secret anymore. Okay, Marilyn, here I have a pair of heavy-duty scissors. Please inspect those, make sure they are what they appear. If you want to test them out, you can test them out in the corner of your blouse right here. No, you're good? Okay. So Marilyn, here I have a rope with two ends. Can you go ahead and cut the ends off for me, please? So here I have a rope with no ends. You'll get it tomorrow, don't worry about it. This is the left end, this is the right end. We bring the two ends together. That makes this the... Please, no helping, that was for her. We bring the middle up to the top. Go ahead and cut that in the middle. Very good. So here we have two equal pieces of rope. Equal up here at the top, and equal down here at the... Equal up here at the top, and pretty darn close here at the bottom. Marilyn, it's kind of important that they be the same length. That would be the only way to be the same length. Two equal pieces of rope. We're going to bring the end of A up to the top of A. We're going to bring the end of B up to the top of B. Are you with me so far? Very good. So we bring loop C over NA, loop D over NB, NA connects over NZ off the left wrist into the right hand. Is that kind of confusing?
Yes.
We'll start over with a piece. Hold on a second. Start over with a piece of tangled mess. It's funnier when it doesn't happen like that. Here we go. We'll start over with a piece of rope. That's good. So this could have been the left end, this could have been the right end. We bring the two ends together, that still makes this the middle. Thank you for paying attention. We bring the middle up to the top, and that makes these the sides, but nobody cares. Okay, go ahead and cut that in the middle. That's the white part, not the fleshy part. Very good. So if this was the left end, if this was end A, that would have made this end B. Very good. And so let's see here, those are not quite even, so go ahead and even those up just a little bit again there. So here we have a piece of rope. That's not cut, it's been cut not once, not twice. Go ahead and cut that one more time in the middle. But 3 times, and then tied back together. Not all that impressive, but the magician's mouth keeps flapping away. Okay, and have the scissors back in case you don't like the rest of the trick. Go ahead and take that in your right hand. Now, it's been said that magicians have very magical hands, and it's true. You can ask my wife. Well, maybe not. Okay. Marilyn has very magical hands too, as she's going to wiggle her fingers and make the knot just come right off the rope. Maybe it would be easier if it was over there. And here we have a piece of Rotary. So you might be wondering what magic has to do with anything. Well, from my perspective, I can tie magic to just about anything. And I'll get to that a little bit more specifically in just a little bit. But right now, first of all, I want to start off by saying thank you for letting me be here and get to share some of my magic and some of my thoughts with you. I appreciate that. I really enjoy what I do, so I love when I get a chance to come out and speak with you. Next, there's a lot of things on your table, but one of those is an evaluation form. It's not a test. It's not a test, okay? So you might want to pull those out right now so you can see what those look like. If anybody needs assistance at the end of the program, I do have a cheat sheet up here with all the right answers on it, so just let me know if you need one of those. I want to continue by playing a game of Rotary Feud. It's kind of like Family Feud, but we're at the Rotary. And so listen here, 1, 2, 3. We're going to divide, this is a little small. So this, we're going to divide the room kind of in half. Those tables are going to be on this side. Let's see what this, the middle table, these tables over here, this back table will be on this side. Okay, so we're going to be kind of right down the middle this way. So this is going to be team left. This is going to be team not left. Thank you for listening. Top 5 answers are up here, and since we don't have a buzzer, if you have an answer, just raise your hand and I will call on you. And so here's the question. When you hear the words change or unexpected change, what are the first thoughts that come to mind? Yes, sir?
Holy crap.
Holy crap. Okay. I've heard a lot of answers. I have not heard that one just yet. Sir, what's your name? Mike, since your team now left, you were the first one to answer. Do you want your team to keep playing, or do you want to pass it over to the other team?
We'll play.
We're going to play. Okay, so I need some more answers from team not left. Yes, ma'am? Challenge, okay? That was even better than holy crap. Is that something that you're not supposed to share personal stories just yet? That's what happened to me. Well, I'm past 50. It didn't happen to me. You're getting me off track. Okay. Any other answers besides that one? Maybe from some of the males in the group. What's that? Clothes. Change. Well, that's a little bit better than diapers. Is what I heard the other day. Okay, I need some more answers. Yes, in the back.
Exciting.
Exciting or excitement. Okay. Very good. Anybody else? We got a lot of people in this room. We got to have more answers than that. Yes?
New direction.
New direction. Okay. Anybody else? Yes, sir? Opportunity. Okay, one more. I got to have one more. Flexibility. You know what? This is a pretty optimistic group, because most of the time when I go around and ask the room and ask for the answers, I get answers like stress, anxiety. Oh no, here we go again. Fear. So most of the time, the answers I get have a negative connotation. This group was actually kind of the opposite. Holy crap, it's the only negative answer you got. So most of the time, the answers I get are negative in connotation. And as human beings, we're naturally resistant to change. And a lot of times, the only time change occurs is when the fear of change is less than the fear of staying the same. A lot of times when we go to implement change, we start off trying some new things, but eventually end up reverting back to what we were always doing before. And that's again because of human nature. We like what we're comfortable with, we like what we're familiar with. Just like this rope. We cut the rope, when we tried to make two pieces of rope, we cut it in half 3 times, we still ended up with a piece of rope. Now, a few of you might have an idea of how that magic trick was done. But I'm willing to bet $1, what do you want, than $1.25? You tell us that's what kind of Vegas. That by the time you get home today, you will not be able to recreate what you just saw. And that's because you don't know the secrets. It's the same thing when we implement change. We need to have the proper tools and the proper secrets if we want our change efforts to be successful. Now, I'm not at liberty to share the secrets of the magic. magician's code and all that. But I can share with you the secrets to help you implement change successfully. Now, these are the same secrets that companies learn when they bring me in to speak to their leadership teams and to their employees about how to implement change successfully. These are the same secrets that, when implemented properly, can only lead to successful change. So we'll start off with secret number 1. Clarify your vision. Now, this doesn't mean clean your glasses or have your eyes checked or just focus on your new Apple iPhone 62 Plus or whatever number they're on right now. Now, it means have a very clear idea of what it is that you want to accomplish. Stephen Covey, most of you are probably familiar with Stephen Covey, a very well-known author and speaker, talks about starting with the end in mind. And that's the same thing that we're trying to do here. What is it that we want to accomplish? How is our company, how is our organization going to look, how is it going to feel after we have successfully implemented the change? So that's the first step. Now, if, for example, improving customer service is not a clear vision. Because if I went around the room and asked people what customer service means, again, I'd get a lot of different answers. Some people would say reducing customer wait times, or improving our product or service, or giving every customer a chocolate raspberry truffle, because these things are really good. Now, out of those examples, though, the only one of those that can actually be measured the way it was stated is the raspberry truffle. And decreasing customer wait times, unless we put specifics to it, can't be measured. Improving our products or service, unless we put specifics to it, can't be measured. So our clear vision needs to be specific, it needs to be measurable, and it needs to be understood so that everybody in the organization, in the company, can understand it. So if we brought somebody inside from outside the organization, they would still have a very good idea of what it is that you're trying to accomplish. So secret number 1 is clarify your vision. Secret number 2 is have commitment from leadership. Now, this is not the same thing as having leadership committed, although sometimes that might be a viable solution. But this is probably the number 1 factor why change efforts fail, is having commitment from leadership. And it usually falls into one of 2 scenarios. One, in a little bit larger organizations where we might have a larger leadership team, only half the leadership buys into it. Now, they might support it at first, okay, I'll go along with it. But then when things get busy, when things get tough, they say, I don't have time for this, and then the change effort comes to a screeching halt. The second scenario is with smaller organizations where you might have 1 or 2 people that are a leadership team, and they're also very busy, so what they do is they delegate the process over to other people. Now, this does 2 things. One is a lot of times those people don't have the authority or the power to implement those strategies. And 2, you're sending a mixed message to the rest of the people in the company, saying that, well, if boss man is too busy to do this, then it must not be that important. So we need to get a commitment from leadership. Now, these strategies that I'm sharing with you are great for companies and organizations, but they also can help you with your personal lives. And I want to share a personal story with you. A few years ago, I wanted my children to be more self-reliant in getting their chores done. And so I created a checklist. Now, there was nothing abnormal about the checklist. These were things that they were supposed to be doing anyway, and we were trying to get them to do on a regular basis. But instead of coming to me, hey, can I do this? Can I watch TV before I go to bed? Is your checklist done? And so that gave them a self-reliant way to make sure these chores were done. I didn't get, my wife wanted our children to be self-reliant as well, but she doesn't necessarily buy into the checklist. And so the nights that I wasn't home, the checklist didn't get done. If I happened to be gone for 2 or 3 nights in a row, somehow the checklist just kind of seemed to disappear. And so now the children don't do the checklists. And we still have to go through that same process that we were going through before. And that was because we didn't get buy-in from both parents, from both people on the leadership team. So secret number 2 is have commitment from leadership. Secret number 3 is attitude. And Marilyn, this is not, you want attitude, I'll give you attitude. That's not what we're talking about. She's shaking her head. Yes, I just did this for my husband yesterday. No, but we want to have a positive attitude. You've heard the expression that one bad apple can spoil the whole bunch. And that is true. But at the same token, if we have a few bad apples and they have a lot of the rest of the people are having a good, positive, supportive attitude, we can change bad attitudes as well. Now, We don't have the ability to change other people's attitude, but we do have the ability to change our own attitudes. And a lot of times it's just a matter of just deciding that we're going to have a better attitude. I can influence your attitude, but I can't change your attitude. So what I want everybody to do right now is to stand up. First thing is a big stretch. Kind of loosens it up and relaxes. Now, for the next 30 seconds, I want you to close your eyes. I want you to think of a time when you were working on a project, whether at home or at work, and maybe it was a more difficult project, but things were just going the way they were supposed to. Things were falling into place. It gave you this really good feeling of sense of accomplishment because things were going just the way you had anticipated them to. And it was making you feel really good about how you were getting this project completed. It gave you a really good feeling. Now I want you to think about that feeling and decide right now to have that feeling. And then go open your eyes. Okay, now everybody go ahead and have a seat. Now that probably did not work for everybody, but I saw a couple of people whose facial expressions changed, their attitude just in their body expression changed. You started to have a smile on your face. Okay? Your facial expression changed from the time you stood up till the end when I have you imagine that. You seem like just by looking at your body expression that you all of a sudden were in a little bit better mood than you were just a few seconds ago. Is that true? Okay? So now I didn't change her attitude. I influenced her attitude. So only she can change her attitude. But we can influence those around us. And so by having everybody having a good attitude and deciding to have those good attitudes, we can influence the culture of the company just by working on concentrating that on a regular basis. Having the attitude instead of holy crap, of having, how can I make this, sorry, if there were other negative people in here, I would have been able to pick on them, but I didn't mean that quite the way it sounded. But you know what I mean. We can influence those around us. Instead of having the attitude of why this is a negative thing, we can have the attitude of how can I make this work best for me. Another suggestion, another example of that was about a year and a half ago, I broke my arm. And I broke it so bad that I had to have surgery. And this is the first time I've ever had surgery on a broken arm. Now, I'm a magician. I need my hands. It was actually in my wrist. And so I had two choices. One, I could say, this sucks. It cost me extra money because of money I didn't have for insurance wasn't going to cover. I lost engagements for it. So this accident was costing me a lot of money. And now I also had to deal with how am I going to work with it for going forward. Everything was going to become a lot harder. I had to go through all this therapy. So I could say, hey, this really sucks. Or I could say, hey, I'm going to go through this and do this the best I can and heal as quickly as I can. And I came out of that, the doctors were surprised at how well I was recuperating. And my arm and my wrist are now back to about 95 to 98%, which is pretty good for what as bad as the accident was. So a lot of that has to do with attitude. So secret number 3 is attitude. Secret number 4 is no fear. I think it was Zig Ziglar who said fear stands for false evidence appearing real. Most of the time when we're dealing with change, that is the case. People are afraid of what they don't know and what they don't understand. Fear is resistance. Fear can slow down your change implementation process. So we need to find some ways to reduce the amount of fear. And the best way to do this is to convey to everybody who's going to be involved why we're doing this, how it's going to affect the company positively, and how it's going to affect each individual positively. Because when people now understand why we're doing what we're doing, how we're going to do it, and how it's going to affect us, now they understand it, and so that fear either greatly diminishes or disappears altogether, and now we have a lot more support from those people that are affected. So step number 4 is no fear. Step number 5 is go faster or create urgency. Now, just in case some of you are curious, this is not the answer. Yes, we want to create feelings of urgency, but that's not the type of thing we're talking about. John P. Cotter, who is probably the leading expert on change management in the country, says this is the #1 place to start, is create urgency. Now, it took me a while to understand exactly what he meant. Creating urgency doesn't say, hey, here's our bottom line, and if we don't do something, we're going to be out of business. No, we need to create emotional buy-ins, emotional tie-ins. That's where the urgency comes in. So, for example, Erica, do you have any children? No. Okay, Marilyn, do you have some children?
I do.
How old are your children?
28, 27, and almost 23.
You're going to be people with young children in here. Yes, sir. Well, I'm a few years older than you are, and my children are 10 and 13. So, yes, sir. How old are your children? 13 and 10. Okay, very good. So, which one is the female? 13. Okay. So, if I was to tell you, and what was your name again? Mike. Good answer. Mike, if I was to tell you that there's a fire in the kitchen, or if I was to tell the showroom that there's a fire in the kitchen, the reaction would probably with most people would be maybe casually walking out of the room, or some of you might pick up your phone and dial 911. Some of you might see if somebody needs some help. But Mike, if I told you that your 13-year-old daughter was standing right next to the fire and she was in danger, how fast do you think you would move? Pretty fast. So now he's got emotional tie-in. He's got emotional buy-in. He's going to make sure that something happens so that his daughter is going to be safe. And that's the same thing that we need to try to create when we're implementing change, having those emotional buy-ins to create that urgency. There was another story that I read about a company where it wasn't even the leadership team that wanted to change something. It was one of the purchasing managers wanted to change the purchasing process. It's a large company, and they had work gloves that they bought from like 47 different suppliers. And the prices on these gloves were $3.50 to like $17. Now, he had approached them on several times about trying to implement new purchasing procedures, and nothing really happened. So one day he decided he was going to have a summer intern go around and collect a pair of gloves from each division, each department that bought gloves. And they came in and they piled them all up on the table so that when the leadership team came in and saw all these piles of gloves coming from all these different suppliers, all of a sudden now they created this picture, this created this urgency on why something needed to be happening. So step number 5 is create urgency. And step number 6 is evaluate. And this is where things can get kind of tricky because we need to continuously evaluate, but not so much that it's going to slow our change efforts down. When I was a pilot, say I wanted to go from here to Las Vegas, and we'll just assume for the moment that that is due west, heading of 270 degrees. Before we would take off, we would get winds along. So when I get airborne, I'm not going to set my heading director on 270. I've got to make corrections for the winds that are up there. Now those are just forecasting winds. Those winds might be different or change while I'm up there. Now if I don't make any corrections or evaluations along my route after flying for 4 hours, I could be several hundred miles off course. So I need to continuously making those adjustments and making those corrections so I can stay on course. It's the same thing when we're implementing the change. We need to have some moments of achievement. We need to create some wins along the way and have some checkpoints to make sure that we're staying on course. So secret number 6 is evaluation. Now, when I was putting this program together, I wanted to start off with a magic trick and I wanted to close with a magic trick. The magic trick that I wanted to close with, I just couldn't get to work the way I wanted it to. So I needed to step back and I needed to evaluate, how can I accomplish the same thing by doing something a little bit different? So I had to evaluate where I was to make those course corrections. And another little side note, a couple of weeks ago I was talking for the Huntersville Happy Hour Club. And I had to leave early and I had to switch cars for my wife. And when I got to the meeting, I went to pull out my briefcase and it wasn't there. Fortunately, I got there a little early and I was able to go across the street to Walgreens and pick up some last-minute supplies, like a deck of cards. So now I have a new way to close my program. So this is what I want everybody to do, is I want everybody to think of a card and playing cards. And as Rotarians, I don't want you to think of the jokers. I know the jokers, the secret magic card that the Rotarians want to use. So we're not thinking of the jokers. So is everybody thinking of a card? Now, Lisa, I've talked to some of the people and I've talked with you, but I haven't reached everybody in here. So Lisa, what I would like you to do is randomly pick somebody in the room. Vern, okay. Now, part of our evaluation is anticipation. Like I said, before we took off, we'd have the wins and losses, and we were anticipating the wins and losses. When I was coming to this meeting, I was asking Lisa a little bit about the group, and she told me about how many people were going to be here, and about the dynamics of the group, so I had to anticipate what this group was going to do. So Vern, what card were you thinking of?
Queen of Hearts.
The Queen of Hearts. She was thinking King of Hearts, but he was thinking Queen of Hearts. A lot of people say the Ace of Spades or the Ace of Hearts. So what I did before I came in here today is I took one card and I reversed it in the deck. So there's one card in here that's a reverse of all the rest of the cards. Now, if I made my evaluations and I made my anticipations correctly, so some of you guys in the deck might have a hard time seeing. What are you talking about? Standing up on the chairs this right now. Improvising, evaluating as we go here. Is that better? Did you guys see me a little bit better?
Is this how you broke your honor?
No, that's a different story. Did you see that there's only one card in there reversed? Eric, would you go ahead and pull that card out and show it to everybody? So there you have your 6 secrets. Like I said at the beginning, when implemented properly, only can lead to successful change. Clarify your vision. Have commitment from leadership. Have a positive attitude. No fear. Go faster. Create urgency. Who's got questions? Somebody's got to have questions. Anybody has questions? Okay, well, the only thing left to do now is to pull that out, pull that evaluation form out. I tried to make it as easy as I could for you. We're starting off with the first question is your name, so hopefully you guys can get that one right. And again, if you need assistance, I've got the cheat sheet up here. When you're done filling those out, just leave them on the table along with the pen, and I will collect those as I'm leaving. You guys have been great. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Greg. We appreciate it. That was an exciting topic for today. Since we had no guests, I'm going to go right to Ms. Joanne Ellis with the non-raffle. And while she's coming up, Greg, just so you know, we always do a donation in your name to Seed Programs International. We thank you for speaking today. Joanne? And folks, I heard some coins going in those cart buckets. Feel free to throw them on in there.
Speaker to choose our number. We took in $73. 36 to the winner, 37 to the club for our holiday project.
I don't know, will there be a trick associated with this?
Oh, that's nice, big one. And would you please say the last 3 numbers? Magic.
The last 3 numbers are 3, 9, 2.
393.
Oh.
Hey!
Look at that.
Richard? Nice.
Everybody.
All right. Okay, so if everybody will please rise, we'll give you the object of Rotary. Should be located on your table. By the end of the year, I'd like for us to have this memorized, myself included. But for now, let's read together. The object of Rotary is to encourage and foster the ideal of service as a basis of worthy enterprise, and in particular, to encourage and foster, first, the development of acquaintance as an opportunity for service. Second, high ethical standards in business and professions, the recognition of the worthiness of all useful occupations, and the dignifying of each Rotarian's occupation as an opportunity to serve society. Third, the application of the ideal of service in each Rotarian's personal, business, and community life. And fourth, the advancement of international understanding, goodwill, and peace through world fellowship of business and professional persons united in the ideal of service. And today, Ron, would you be so kind as to lead us in the 4-way test?
4-way test. Do things be things, say